Hi, my name's Chris Pezza, and on behalf of Task Management and the Apartment Source, congratulations on your new home. Today, I'll be briefly walking you through the lease for your new apartment. Hopefully, this gives you a better understanding of the lease, our process, and our expectations for you as a tenant. We appreciate you taking the time and look forward to working with you for years to come. This is the Chicago residential lease supposed to be signed on every apartment in the city of Chicago. It is written by the association and is very standard. The top of the first page has key dates like the day you sign the lease, when the lease begins and you can move in, when your lease ends and move out is expected, how much you're going to pay, and the official address of the apartment. If you have a security deposit, that amount will go here, and the bank the security deposit is held at will go here. If you do not have a deposit and you have a non refundable move in fee, that amount goes here. Keep in mind that is non refundable. Any pets within the premises will be listed here. You may also have pet fees and a pet rider. If parking is included in the lease, that will be listed here, including any fees associated with that. You may also have a parking rider, which you will need to fill out. Any storage will be listed here. If it's furnished, that will be listed here. This box will show you all the utilities included in your rent. Any utilities not included, like gas, electric, cable, or internet, may require a service contract with the local providers. You will need to pay those and have those in your name, and we'll discuss that more in depth a little later. Any appliances in the unit will be listed here. Renter's insurance is a requirement in the city of Chicago and a requirement of our company. You will need to list your renter's insurance provider here, and we will ask for proof of that before you can get your keys. Any residents over the age of 18 must apply and be on the lease. You guys will be listed here. Anyone under 18 residing in the premises must be listed here. Our information will be here. If there are any other agreements agreed to in the lease, such as repairs, multi-year leases, or anything like that, that will be listed here. Please note the apartment will be as is unless any repairs are listed on the lease. The city requires that you initial the bottom of all 19 pages. Please initial here on each page. Page 2 will have the nuts and bolts of the lease, and we will go through this in depth. Right here are all the radon and lead-based paint disclosures that you're required to receive. We will be giving you those, so please initial here. If heat is your responsibility, we will disclose the cost to you. We will check this box and put a number here that represents your average monthly cost. Please initial here. If heat is included in rent, we will check this box. Please initial here. If any conditions affect the habitability of the property, we will disclose those and you will initial here. If there are no conditions, we will disclose that and you will initial here. These are all the disclosures and brochures we are required to give you. They will all be in this lease if they are applicable, with X's checked for each one. Please initial here. We are not dual agents at the Apartment Source. You do not need to initial anything here. This section says you are who you said you were on the application. You did not use identity theft or fraud. If you agree with that, please initial here. This says that you've seen the unit prior to occupancy and you understand that's the apartment you're getting in as is condition. You will need to check right here under section 2. If you signed this lease during the shelter in place and did not see the apartment, please initial here, and we will also give you a sight unseen COVID-19 rider. This section here speaks to bed bugs. Please do not bring bed bugs into the apartment. If you do, there will be fines and fees and administrative costs and remediation charges for that. You will also need to comply with our policy to treat the bed bugs. Hopefully that does not happen. Please do everything in your power to not bring bed bugs into the apartment. Going down this side of the page, rent is due on the 1st. If it's not in by the 5th, it is considered late. After the 5th, late fees go into effect. Late fees can be expensive, so pay your rent on time. It will save you money. Do not bounce any checks or have any overdrafts on your online payments. There will be a $75 fee to go along with that. So make sure you have money in your account when you pay your rent. You'll take possession of the apartment on the day that your lease says. And so please pay attention to your lease start date. If you have a security deposit that will be disclosed, it will go into a bank. You will collect interest on it. We will return it on time. You will use the premises for your own quiet enjoyment as an apartment. This is not a place of business. Do not run any illegal business out of there. Do not run an Airbnb out of there. We do not allow that. Again, as always, you will need to initial the bottom of this page and each of the following pages. Page 3, very quickly. This is your maintenance obligations. Please keep the unit clean and habitable. Remove your trash. Do not leave it in the hallways or on the decks. If anything is broken in the unit, please let us know. We want to get that fixed for you as soon as possible. You cannot break a lease in the city of Chicago. The only way to get out of a lease is to find a sublet. You will post the apartment and show the apartment. When someone wants to apply, they will go through the same application process that you did. Once they are approved, they will sign a new lease. You will be released of your liability as soon as that new lease is signed. You will owe rent all the way up until the point the new tenant takes over. Do not make any major alterations to your apartment, including paint. If we need to access the unit for any reason, we have to give you 48 hours notice. That includes showings. If there is emergency maintenance, like a leak or a flood in there, we can enter to do the work. We just have to give you notice immediately after. Holding over. This is a rare one, but if your lease ends and you do not renew or you are given a notice to vacate, do not hold over. Your rent will become double and you can be evicted and have other fines and fees. Do not stay past your lease end. Heat and hot water are life safety issues. It is our responsibility to provide you with those at all times. If you do not have working heat or water, please call our emergency line. We will get that fixed for you as soon as possible. Again, utilities are your responsibility unless otherwise noted on the lease. You may need to call ComEd and Peoples Gas to get those accounts turned on, and you will need to give us those utility numbers before we give you keys. Please make sure those bills are paid on time. Otherwise, any past due charges, late fees, unpaid expenses can be added to your ledger. With administrative fees, you can be sent to collections for that. Do not destroy the apartment. Do not abandon the apartment. All right. If anyone violates anything in the lease up till now, a notice will be served. If a notice is served, then this side of the lease will kick in. This is all the legal fallout that would happen if either side does not uphold their end of the bargain. Although we hope that doesn't happen, please read through this. Page 4 briefly talks about the rules and regulations. Please do not do anything criminal in the apartment. Do not run any illegal businesses out of there. Be mindful of your pets and your neighbors. Don't bother your neighbors. Respect quiet hours. Most importantly, don't burn the building down. We'll get more into the rules and regulations a little bit later. But these are the cities laid out pretty generally. When you agree to everything in the lease so far, you will sign here and date. We will countersign when everything is complete. If you have a co-signer, their information will be here and they will sign here. Please let them know. As always, please initial the bottom of the page. The next 14 pages are required by the city of Chicago, and they do require you to initial each page. Scan through those, read those. Please make sure you initial the bottom of each. Those are the brochures that will educate you on exciting topics like radon, lead-based paint, and bed bugs. I promise if you cannot sleep at night and you read through those, they will put you right out. Once you are educated on those items, you may initial the bottom of each page and we can move on. Down here is the CRLTO. You do not need to sign it. but I do want you to be aware of it. It is your rights as a tenant. If you feel like we are not being good landlords or upholding your end of the bargain, you can reference this for your remedies. We will do the same if you do not uphold your end of the bargain. That is it for the lease. However, we do have a lease rider, which I am going to walk you through if you are a task management residence. That rider is right here. Your address will go here. To whom you make your rent payments will be here. Although we do accept money orders, we highly encourage you to pay online. Once the lease is signed, you will receive an invite from do not reply at managebuilding.com. Please follow the steps in there, log in with your email, create a password, and create your account. You can link your bank account to that and pay via checking account automatically or manually each month. There is no charge to pay by check, by e-check. If you want to use a credit card, you can, but there is a 3% fee. Again, please make sure all of your utility accounts are set up in your name to get keys and make sure you pay those current. Please initial here when you agree to that. Your move-in date will be on the 1st at 1 p.m. unless otherwise noted in the lease. The premise will be as is, other than a cleaning. We will not paint the unit in between. We will not do any other repairs in between unless noted on the lease. We do not supply blinds. If blinds are left behind, you're welcome to use them. If they are not left behind, we cannot promise replacement. Each tenant on the lease will get one set of keys. Any other keys you need, please make your own copies. If you fail to return one set per tenant at the end of the lease, there are fines associated with that. Again, renter's insurance is required. Please provide proof of your renter's insurance in order to get keys. Feel free to read through these next 2 pages. They speak towards things like smoking, which is prohibited, candles, which you must be very responsible not to burn the building down, quiet hours, and other important topics. When you are good with that, please sign the bottom of this page. The next page goes into plumbing. Please be careful about what you put down the drains. Please do not rod the drains yourself. Please do not clog drains. Please do not put chemicals down the drains. Please be careful running your water appliances when you are not home. Your laundry and your dishwasher, if they spring a leak and you are not home to turn them off, that could cause a flood. That would not be good. So please be careful with your plumbing and your appliances. That concludes the lease and rider for the apartment source. Please complete these in DocuSign, and please log into your portal when you receive the email from do not reply at managebuilding.com. The portal will answer most questions for you and allow you to pay rent and do maintenance requests. If you have additional questions, you may email me at pezza@apartmentsourcechicago.com, our management team at pm@apartmentsourcechicago.com, or call the office at 773-404-9900. Thank you for taking the time, and we very much look forward to having you as a tenant.